Are there people in your life who, for whatever reason, would just choose pain over everything else? There are multiple layers of awareness in life, and one of them is pain. Now, pain itself is not any level of awareness, but there is one in which people have to go through so that they realize how important they are, or they should be, for them who they are at first. Because if you have no importance for you, then you will simply conduct self destruction, and that leads to more pain. The unfortunate situation of this level is that the karmic level of this one, or when it becomes a cycle which people find it harder and harder to escape from, this cycle means that you have become complacent with pain. So the point is, you simply prefer pain over everything else because that's technically your comfort zone. You're afraid of anything else that might be because you're afraid of even more pain. So people who choose pain in their life, well, people who choose pain are simply kind of living in their own prison. The point is, the idea of um, empathy as an awareness level is when people feel that others are pained, they feel this impulse to help them. This is the cyclic level of empathy. When you are an empathic being, use this only as a guarantee. Because people will tell you all sorts of things, but they may not be aware of how they feel or what they want, but at the same time they may actually be. And, well, point is, they might be lying. So use your empathy as a lie detector. Do not induce emotion into that. Because if people are pained and they are saying they are not, it is not your purpose to cure their pain. Never forget that in this world, you should never help others unless they actually ask for. This is one of the wiser quotes that Taoism and many other wise people and beliefs have come up with. Because helping people who have not requested help means you're kind of forcing things. And when you're forcing things, you're not going to always have good things, right? You're not always going to have good results. And forcing something means having someone go beyond certain levels without them actually experiencing that or having much less time to experience that. So when it comes to empathy, use it as a guide, because when you are capable of feeling other people's emotions, it is super easy to let yourself overwhelmed by that because you accept them instead of letting them the way they are. You cannot change things in people because that which they are, right, their ego, their current state, right, they who they are right now is an aspect of their past experiences and their past lives, but let's focus on this one. That is something you cannot change. You may change their perspective about the past, yes, that is a point, but still you cannot change that which they have become because everything that they have experienced is their experience and not yours. You may have experienced similar things, but different levels of awareness, and even you too being different beings, means that you have at least slightly different perceptions. So helping others is only preferable when people ask that of you. There are those narcissistic people who will always use shame and guilt against you because if you don't help them, you're egotistical, right? But aren't they the egoists because they always ask for help? So, one way to circumvent this as an empath is to simply ask them, what would you help me with in return? Because people who always ask for things will always be pissed. You are bound to help them because you are born, right? That's how narcissistic people function. People who simply just take, take, take. Why? Because they can't accept the idea of giving unless they know they get something more in return. So the point is, asking healthy questions is a good thing. Reading people through your empathy is also a good thing. Now, when empathy is not your strong point, the aspect of pain is that everyone has to understand that. People have to go through certain levels of pain because pain is what brings you out of your comfort zone. Whatever way you take it, the comfort zone ends up usually as a prison, and only pain can pull you out. Because if nothing hurt in this world, you would simply live ignorantly forever. And ignorance is technically nothing else than an anesthetic. It simply prevents you from experiencing life. And if you just live life without experiencing it, it's just like nothing. It's just like life passing by and you don't have any memory. Because ignorance implies ignoring your memories, ignoring your emotions, ignoring your thoughts. So when you are on your deathbed, you'll barely have any memories. You'll barely have anything to be proud of and say, hey, I'm actually glad I did that. And that is why people who are ignorant, they always end up sad, right? They always end up full of regrets. And they have a very painful death. Not necessarily physically, but regrets also create pain inside the body. And, well, at multiple levels, they will eventually hit the physical level as well. And that can manifest through different diseases. Now, when it comes to pain, the point about that is just accept that people have to go through certain levels of pain to simply wake up to their potential. Because many people are born with this idea of expectation. Your parents raise you, right? They raise you, they simply take care of you, so you kind of end up expecting that from them. Amplified by the fact that parents have great expectations from their children, and then you go to school and teachers have a great expectation of you, it is not uncommon that people end up expecting things in return, right? And expectation is a bit ignorant because you just stay there and wait instead of doing the work by yourself. So the point about empathy is use it as a guide. The point is when you have friends who are pained, try to help them but in an indirect way. Try to have discussions with them but lead them to the idea that you want to tell them instead of telling them the idea, so that they end up as having a revelation and feeling as if they were the ones who actually came up with the ideas. You just smile in your own head because you have done your work. After all, this life is not about praising that you have achieved something or that you have helped thousands of people, because ultimately when someone goes to the grave, no one will remember much about that anyways. And even if they do, it's not their point. It's not one's point to remember what other people have done with their lives. Taking such people as examples to live your life by, that is a good thing, but one's life is called personal for a reason. Let their lives be personal. History and all so many distractive things are just pulling your attention away from you. How personalities of the past have lived their life, how the so-called megastars of this mainframe media system are living their life right now. What are they doing right now? This is just pulling attention from people. And this is just distracting them. Distraction means that you're no longer doing things that should be done about you. You're just doing things that, concern others. So you're technically feeding your energy to others. At the same time, when you're helping people with their pain, or when you're talking to them, you're actually distracting them instead of letting them experience their pains. Don't forget that a level of awareness may require even several lifetimes of advancing, right? People may require to go through several lifetimes of poverty, pain, dying in warfare or whatever to simply understand the importance of life and start growing more and more into that sensibility, right? That life is far more than what our senses see. So don't try to help people left and right, because ultimately that proves or aims you towards becoming a people pleaser. And we all know people pleasing is kind of bad because you are neglecting who you are. And after you please everyone, who will be there to simply please you back? Most of us have gone through this level, so just take care when you are handling things. Many people need their suffering. Don't forget that everything in this life has its own karma. So if people are suffering, most likely they are not suffering for nothing. Most people suffer just because they don't know how to handle their mind and their emotions. So the question is, if they can't handle their mind and emotions, what can there be for you to help them? Because if you talk to them, they're not gonna understand anything because they're gonna be too distracted with their mind and emotions. And worse than that, if you talk to them, you're gonna further distract them from solving their problems. The only way to help people out of their problems is to teach them how to solve their problems. Because without commitment, there can be no success. Without commitment, there can be only failure, right? All this being said, you are appreciated. Take care. Ferenc Board signing out.